Today, we present how a woman can demonstrate her value to a man. A woman's worth is something a man must discover for himself, not from her influence. Any woman listening who has ever attempted to persuade a man of her value by telling him so knows that this approach not only fails, but it also diminishes the value of the woman in the eyes of the man and makes her seem even less worthy than she actually is. I will therefore show you 9 non-verbal ways in this video to show a man how valuable you are. To be clear, a man will not become interested in you just by seeing your value to him. It takes more than just proving your worth to a man to pick his interest. There are other considerations that need to be taken into account. But you will maintain your dignity and win his respect. However, if a man is attracted to you, he will be clamoring for a relationship with you because you will stand out from the plethora of women who, regrettably, are adept at expressing their value because this occurs frequently. From the outside, a woman may pick up a man's interest, but his interest may be dashed by her lack of self-worth. Furthermore, the sense of worthiness that appeals to men in this specific situation is different from other senses of worthiness. For instance, people might notice if a woman has concerns about her capacity to succeed financially. But it will not make her any less interesting or appealing. Men are sensitive to a woman's self-worth in relation to her belief that she deserves equality with men in her life. Let us now discuss how to convince someone of your value. First things first, before you even go out there and show yourself to a man, make sure you know your value. This is the most important thing to do. What is your true worth? Do you know? I have found that many women think they know their worth until they are rejected or judged. At which point they lose any standards, boundaries or flimsy sense of worthiness. Knowing one's own value renders one's worth unshakable. You never harbor any self-doubt whatsoever. You have it engraved in your heart. Furthermore, there are very few people who can genuinely and truthfully claim to know their own worth in comparison to the mass collective. Furthermore, it is not the loudest shouter. It is not those who claim to have a high sense of self-worth. There are a few ways to discover how you really feel about yourself if you are not sure how strong your own sense of worthiness is. The first method is to consider your past actions and determine which of the following best describes you. Number 1. If you tolerated a great deal of BS, accepted a great deal of poor behavior, or remained in toxic relationships. Where you were mistreated, these are strong indicators that you recognize your value. Even if you have overcome this and increased your awareness to be more vigilant about toxicity, and you meet someone new that you genuinely like. If they again try to put up with BS, it means you have not fully absorbed the lesson and do not yet possess a high degree of self-awareness. Number 2. If you are angry with men who fail to treat you as you believe you deserve to be treated. I have encountered numerous women who believed they had improved themselves, realized their worth, and would never accept less than what they truly deserve. But yet displayed a great deal of anger when a man failed to treat them as they believed they deserved. Thus, if you continue to resent your own value and project it onto yourself, you lack true self-awareness, as one of the most important indicators of self-awareness is not reacting negatively and becoming overly emotional in response to situations that challenge your newly adopted value system. Women who have an authentic sense of self-value are never provoked by men who fail to acknowledge their value. While some men may not see them as deserving, they know that others will find them magnificent. The second method for determining one's self-esteem is to sit in a quiet room and contemplate the following inquiry: what is my value? And while posing the question, make an effort to establish a connection with your body. Become aware of your internal state, and make an effort to identify with the emotions that surface in response to the question. If comfort and doubt are observed, this suggests that further introspection is required in order to elevate your self-centered team. The presence of pain or rage may indicate unresolved traumas and wounds within the individual. Ladies, this is important. Know your worth before dating men. You can wear expensive clothes. If you lack an unwavering sense of self-worth, even if you walk with all the confidence in the world, men will notice. Beyond that point, your actions are irrelevant. Their initial impression of you will remain unchanged. Number 2. Look like you take yourself and your worth seriously. To be viewed as worthy by others, you must first demonstrate to them that you are someone who values and respects yourself. Is deserving of love and respect, deserves to be appreciated and given the best things in life, and so on. Do you appear to be someone who is confident in yourself? Do you appear to be a person who values and gives their best to themselves? Do you appear to be someone who respects themselves or who is self-compassionate? According to law number 34 of Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, in order to be treated as a prince, one must conduct oneself as a king. This means that the manner in which one conducts oneself and presents oneself to the world frequently dictates how one is treated. Since individuals invariably react to the energy that one sends. If you project an image of greatness and a belief that you are destined for greatness, others will be influenced to believe that your high self-esteem is justified. If you want others to value you but don't, they can tell by your behavior towards yourself, your clothes, your food, whether you invest in yourself financially, as well as how you treat others. To be considered deserving by men, it is crucial for you to have a robust sense of self-worth. In order to inspire others, especially individuals, it is imperative that you prioritize bestowing these valuable attributes upon yourself. For instance, if you anticipate a man purchasing lavish gifts for you, you must first acquire luxurious items for yourself. Naturally, it is important to stay within your financial means, but it is advisable to consistently go in the highest quality items that are within your affordability. If you want a luxurious dining experience, you must eat well and care about what you eat. Moreover, it is advisable to make an effort to visit these pleasant locations in order to familiarize yourself with the appearance of these experiences. For example, you can have a nice solo lunch at a restaurant that serves lunch cheaper than dinner and is better for women. Number 3. You must refrain from providing convenient entry to yourself, and you must demonstrate that the privilege of accessing you must be earned. One can effectively demonstrate this by means of their attire. You can dress elegantly and tempted, but revealing too much of yourself in public may indicate a lack of self-respect and a willingness to be vulnerable. Furthermore, it is advisable to exercise caution and refrain from readily and prematurely agreeing to specific matters. For instance, it is advisable to refrain from visiting a man's residence during the initial encounter or even during the initial few encounters. It is imperative to refrain from engaging in sexual activity prematurely. In my opinion, it is advisable to wait for a minimum of 1 to 3 months before making a decision, especially if you have any uncertainties. It is imperative to refrain from engaging in sexual activities or sharing explicit photographs with anyone, as doing so compromises your privacy and personal boundaries. It is advisable to refrain from inviting men to your personal residence until you have established an official romantic partnership. Prior to that, your encounters with men were limited to public venues. Even when in a relationship, one's access to their own place should be restricted, or at the very least, less than that of their partners. Access to your time and emotional energy should be valuable and limited to men who have genuinely invested in you and made significant efforts. Do not verbally communicate your limits to others, instead, demonstrate them through your actions. In order for boundaries and standards to be effectively enforced, they should not be communicated solely through verbal means. It is important not to disclose your boundaries to men. Avoid making statements, such as threats or expressing dissatisfaction with their behaviour, as in if you do this again, I will take action, or I deserve better than this. To begin with, the majority of boundaries are highly common among us. Personal boundaries are highly individualized and distinct for each person. There is no genuine necessity to inform someone, as this constitutes a boundary. They possess a comprehensive understanding of usual boundaries. Your energy should convey that you are an individual who has strong convictions about personal boundaries and does not make any justifications for anyone. Therefore, it would already be compelling for men to endeavor to breach your limits. It is important to watch for boundary transgressions because men often test women's limits to see if they can get around them. They are aware that they can consistently retreat without consequence, as this approach has proven effective with numerous other women. However, you ought to present them with something different. By being absent and making them question whether they will ever get you back, you will establish your boundaries. You do not ask for justification. You do not inform them that their actions were improper. There is no bargaining with them. By simply turning away, you are denying them your presence while also letting them know that you will not put up with it. What comes next is up to the man. If he is genuinely interested in you, he will return, pleading for another opportunity. Furthermore, on this occasion, he will refrain from engaging in frivolous behavior, as he will recognize the importance of treating you with the utmost seriousness. Then and only then can you explain what kind of boundary he disregarded. Number 5. Always be prepared to leave. Being prepared to leave at any moment is another way to demonstrate your value to a man. It is similar to the last point, but it is more general in nature, that is, you should always be prepared to leave, not only when someone crosses a boundary. A woman who is unwilling to end a relationship is not one of great worth, as she is willing to make self-sacrificing decisions in order to maintain a relationship. Furthermore, a woman may have to end a relationship for a variety of reasons. It is possible that the man is abusive. Perhaps he is lying. Perhaps he suffers from a mental illness. It is possible that he started sending her mixed signals or cheated. For whatever reason, the only high-value course of action when you realize that you have to lose your dignity or make compromises in order to stay in this relationship is to walk away. I also mean that you have to be aware that you are not going into a relationship on a conditional basis. No matter how much you like a man, you have to enter a new relationship prepared to walk away. After you get into a relationship, you may not want to end it quickly because you cannot build meaningful bonds, but you should always consider it. Most healthy marriages have a great deal of conditionality, but it is a very delicate and dependent conditionality. And it is actually what makes them strong because it keeps everyone in check, but I suppose men especially. The impression that you will not support them in any situation is generally what men need to get from you. I know most of us were raised to believe that a man will love you more if you show him you are devoted to him and will always be there for him, but that is a huge lie and fantasy. Number 6. Emphasize that your actions, not words, are your main focus. You have to come to terms with the fact that everything in this day and age must be demonstrated by deeds, and that words are the cheapest thing a man can give you. For instance, you could reply to a man who says something nice to you by asking, "How can you prove it to me?" Or "How can I trust you?" Or "How do I know this is true?" Men are aware that there are two categories of women in the world. Some high-value women know that words are worthless, and are more interested in observing men's actions than manipulating other women with nice words. Men can tell they are dealing with a high-value woman when they see, when a woman makes it obvious that she is waiting for the actions. A woman of high value, by the way, makes no demands whatsoever of men. Therefore, it is really not about making demands because high-value women are merely observing behaviors, and the man is coming from a place of frustration and lag. They simply leave if the words and actions are in sync or if neither of them exist. Number 7. Maintain a reasonable level of skepticism. Ladies, displaying a little skepticism reveals a lot about your high value and negates the trait of naivete. Because there are so many con artists, liars, and scammers, a self-valued person must approach the world with skepticism to use discernment. But what is a healthy degree of skepticism? You are neither naive nor negative when you have a healthy level of skepticism. It indicates that you are aware of when to lower your guard when there is no cause for concern. This indicates that having skepticism is not an obsession or a sign of a mental illness. While you should never be doubtful, you can directly question a man if something seems too good to be true, like something out of a fantasy world, or off. You know, you live in La La Land, where everyone is kind and looks out for your best interests, so if you do that, it shows a man you do not believe in. You can now simply challenge him to stop there. If you are still unsure, you can even go so far as to gently request that he provide evidence for his claims. Being skeptical shows a man that you are not easily swayed, that you use judgment, that you think critically, and that you do not take things at face value without first considering them. You show your character by being willing to express negative feelings or have difficult conversations to find the truth, even if it upsets someone. Ladies, employ skepticism, but in a constructive, restrained manner. Number 8. You have to be prepared to turn down a man, even if it means losing him. You will have to turn down a lot of requests if you are a worthy person. You will agree to things you think a man who respected and cared about you would not ask, such as early sex or sexting, sending in young people, cooking and cleaning without being his wife, and more. I have found over the years that when a naturally assertive woman likes a man, her inability to say no becomes a problem. Saying no is much easier for women who do not really like the man they are interacting with. It is a common occurrence for me to witness women disobeying the rules in favor of a man they find attractive, believing that he could be their true love and that this is their opportunity to experience true happiness. However, this is never the case. The only reason those men ask you for things they should not is that they do not care that they might lose you. Consequently, they do not regard you with the same level of seriousness as you may regard them, and their intentions towards you are not as they appear. Engaging in rule-breaking behavior with the intention of winning someone's affection is a self-deprecating and ultimately futile endeavor. Therefore, you must decline any inappropriate request, even if it comes from a man you like and see as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Number 9. Most importantly, never chase a man. This is the last straw for determining your genuine worth as a woman. You can embody all of the preceding qualities and demonstrate whatever worthiness and value you are able to demonstrate. However, as a worthy person, you do not pursue a man who withdraws if your response is to move towards him, even if it is just a slight movement. Not only does a worthy woman not justify a man, but she also does not fabricate grandiose acts in an attempt to cast the man in a negative light and assume that he is just not interested. And a woman like that values and respects herself far more than she does another person. She has the fortitude and bravery to move on despite her attraction to the person because of her deservingness. Our video has now come to an end. I hope you enjoyed it and learned from it. Please subscribe, like, and feel free to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments section. Once again, thank you for watching.